My name is Chris Boris, and I'm the world's first ghost behaviorist. I've come up with a groundbreaking ghost classification system that brings ghostly contact to a whole new level.
So you were involved in that crash, correct?
My mission is to get into a spirit psyche and diagnose the problems plaguing them.
He wants to kill somebody.
Post-traumatic stresses, coping disorders, I've seen it all. I'm here to counsel the dead and the homeowners they haunt. All right, guys, welcome to the first switching gears. Welcome to the first Ghost Behaviorist podcast, and I apologize for being late. I have a crazy explanation. As you know, it seems like every time I try to do one of these things, something weird happens. Like, I swear to God, it's the dark forces just like kind of stepping in, being like, no, we don't want you to do this stuff. And the computer, I'm on my phone. So the microphone might be a little terrible. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I was going to use my computer. I used it yesterday I did an Irate Gamer broadcast, and look at this. Blue screen of death. There is no reason for this. And it's just the same old song and dance. Like, every time I try to do something like this, something intervenes and tries to keep me from doing this stuff. And it's annoying. I had to really bless my house last night to make sure I got a good night's sleep, and I ended up getting a little sick, so my voice is a little cracky right now, which drives me nuts as well. It's like when you are tuned into something, like the secrets of the afterlife, like I am, the resistance, man. It's just like, So, yeah. One of the things I want to talk about, and this is the first time I'm going to make this public. I'm going to look into the camera here, so you don't see me looking off in the distance. One of the things that I'm announcing today is I just put together a website. I've been working on this for 2 months, and I've been every step of the way, I've been hitting this resistance, this wall, where something does not want me to get this out. And it's at ghostdrchris.com. I put this together because I've had so many people come to me saying, I need help, but I live a couple states away. I have been thinking about this for months, and I put this together. I've put together a package for people if they're in trouble. They have, they're having weird hauntings, things happening to them, even sleep paralysis. I can help you solve the case of sleep paralysis because it's a dark attack. It took me a long time to realize what sleep paralysis actually was, and I haven't heard anybody out there in the field talk about this stuff, even as simple as sleep paralysis. They haven't put this stuff together, and I don't know if it's by design or what, but it is a dark attack. I'm not going to say demonic. Everything's not demonic. So yeah, I put this stuff together. I got different packages that I put together. This isn't for everybody. This is for people that are in need. They're like, look, I have problems. I'm seeing shadows. I'm seeing dark mists in my house. That's not going to be for everybody, especially not a lot of my fans. So that's not for you. But if it does happen, it's there. And I just want to help people. Like, nothing, and I've even looked online. Nothing like this even exists anywhere online. So I believe this is pretty revolutionary for what it is. It's kind of a revolutionary way to set things up. Like, so if somebody gets this package, they can do it's like a very involved 2-part process where they do their thing, I do my thing at the same time, and cleanse the house. So this is really, really cool. And just like RKF says it is a remote service. Absolutely. And man, I love you guys in the comments. Like Jeremy says, yeah, myths are nothing to joke about. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like when you start seeing this stuff in your house. So what happens? And I'm sorry if this camera's off kilter. I've got this on a stand and I tried to put this together as quick as I could. I didn't want to be too late. And so I like slapped this together. So if we start going sideways, I apologize. But see what happens when a demonic or a dark force comes into your home. It can't come in right away. It's like the vampire syndrome where you have to invite this stuff in. Okay, there's steps, there's process, and if you go to my website, I have different stages. Like I call it the stage 1 package, stage 2 package, stage. I think I only did 3, but there are 5 stages that I came up with for a haunting. No one's ever done this stuff either. Broken the haunting down by stages, but that's what I've done. So when a dark force tries to get into your house, the first thing it does is plant its flag and says, okay, I'm going to start invading this space. But it can't do it right away, because what it has to do is it has to align the energy in the house with its energy. So it's got to take it down, the vibration level. It's got to take the vibration level down and sync it with theirs. So this is why things this is a great analogy in all those ghost movies that you're used to. Things start off very slowly because it just planted its flag. It's starting to match its energy with the energy of the house. So little things are going to happen first, and then it's going to ramp up more, 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 and more. And one of the ways it does that is by getting the people in the house scared, little kids scared. And what happens is they feed off that their emotions, because that's what they feed. That's their food source in the afterlife. They feed off that stuff, and then they become stronger. They can do more things, become stronger, do more things, stronger. It's just a process until you get full-blown apparitions. You get things like, I hate to lump it in there, but it's true. Alien abductions. If you really research the alien abduction cases, you will see that paranormal things happen around the house and around those situations before abduction scenarios occur. And it's just another layer to the demonic forces that are out there. So and yeah, Sora and I think that's what you say. You say, holy shit, aliens are paranormal. Absolutely. If you start getting some of these books on alien abductions and things like that, you will see they'll lay out like a lot of their like things that happen in sequential order, and you'll see a lot of paranormal things start happening around these cases. So absolutely, it is definitely paranormal. So Horror King asks, what's the creepiest encounters you've ever had as a ghost doctor? I'm living it, man. The stuff around the house, when I was getting my feet wet and trying to learn, okay, protection, how to protect myself, because once I start going down a lot of these rabbit holes, things came at me. And one of the scariest things I think that freaked me out, in the middle of the night, I had this cloaked demonic thing just slink out of the darkness at me, and I still remember its growl. It had chains dangling from it. I'm talking about full blown Christmas Christmas Carol, Jacob Marley kind of stuff, but the coat was like huge. This thing came at me, freaked me the hell out, because it's 4 a.m. I'm like, what in the absolute hell? Bed shaking, all that crap. So that really freaked me out. I hate when they come to my house, but you got to learn this protection stuff, and I see people trying to simulate what I'm doing as a ghost behaviorist. It's like, if you're going to start going down that path, you better be ready for the repercussions that come at you. And that's why I get so mad when I see people on on TV, like these Destination Fear kids and stuff like that. It's like, boy, you're living a charmed life, going around to all these places and just getting all these accolades, just doing jump scare paranormal because you know just spend one day in my shoes and you ain't gonna last, buddy. Yes, it's kind of like that. But yeah, I this is just people are like, why do you do this stuff? It's a calling. God, I've had conversations with the source, God, whatever you want to call it, and this is my calling. It's like and they've revealed specific things for me to decode because it's going to be needed later on. There's, and I hate to say this, if you research a lot of the um, prophets and things like that, what they're saying online now, a lot of them are saying the exact same thing, and it's like where there's smoke, there's fire. So I think we're going to have some crazy things going down this summer. So that's another reason I want to do this podcast. I want to do it a weekly thing because when things start hitting the fan, I want to be able to say, look, here is what's going on under the surface, because there's a lot of things that are absolutely going on that a lot of people aren't privy to. There's a lot of tentacles that the bad guys, I don't know, the dark forces have. All right, so let me get into some of these questions because I don't know how long I'm going to be able to stay on here. My voice is already cracking because I'm not, man, I just don't feel that well. So let's see. So Jonathan asks about I did a video on The Ring where I decoded things from The Ring. And I through the eyes of a ghost behaviorist / ghost doctor. And I do want to make more of these in the future. It's just time's always an issue. And these videos are very, very time consuming. So because first of all, I have to sit down and watch it. I want to make notes, and then I have to put everything in a script that makes sense. And I want to hit a lot of points that a lot of people don't know, don't really research or understand. Things like I just mentioned with the dark forces, they like to plant their flag in a house. Like who talks about this stuff? No one. No one. I've had to put all this stuff together because I love listening. Okay, let me rephrase that. I used to love listening to Coast to Coast, Coast to Coast AM. I used to love listening to that show because they had some of the coolest guests. But over like the past 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, it's just the same garbage regurgitated over and over and over. And it's like, come on, man, give me something new. Like, I can't learn from anybody anymore. I've evolved so much in this field. It's like I can't learn from anybody anymore, and it drives me absolutely insane. In fact, the only person that I can bounce things off of and actually get some like new insight on is my friend Alan. And he's probably in the chat here, but my friend Alan, he's in a lot of the Ghost Doctor episodes because he's well educated, man. Like every time I'm talking to him, he's like, oh, I'm reading this book or that book. And it's like, who reads that many books? Not many people in this field, if any, because there are a lot of people. God, I wish I could name them by name. I just can't remember their names right now. But they have this knack where they could just talk and talk for a half hour, an hour. I'll listen to them on Coast to Coast, and at the end of the show, I'm like, what did I learn? I just, they're just full of hot air. They just could go on and on about nothing. It's like you're on the edge of your seat going, okay, what's this leading to? And then it's like nothing. It's like, get off the damn airwaves. I'm sick of you. So yeah, it just drives me nuts. All right, I'm going to get to a question here. Somebody give me a paid question. Let me get to, jeez. I'm on my phone, so give me a minute here. This is so hard to. Okay, here we go. Chirography. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that. Um, Told my gay friend Lilith about the 90-minute interaction you had in your book. He's wondering if it's possible for him to entice the male spirit that's haunting him to fall in love with him. If that's what if that's the question that you have for that, you kind of missed the point. Because what we're trying to do is, how do I put this? Like evolve past human emotions. And see, I think you're referring to the interaction that I had with Eliza in the book. When I went to the St. Augustine Lighthouse, there was the tour guide Matt. Okay, we interacted with a spirit named Eliza, and it was phenomenal because I think this is the first time this has ever been caught on film where a spirit was in love with a human. You have to go back and watch that if you haven't seen it and you're intrigued by this. He worked at the lighthouse and he was about the same age where Eliza would have took a suitor his age, and so she died at the age of 14, I think it was, and he was about 18. So that was about, the marrying age of male female back then. So since she was dead, she died at the age of 14. She was still romantically attracted to kids that age, and she developed romantic feelings for Matt in the afterlife, which is a first. This is the first time I've ever seen interacted with something like this, but it was amazing because when we were in a room, we were trying to get Eliza to interact with us. We wouldn't get anything. Matt would come into the room and she'd start spiking the meters like, oh, hey, Matt's here. I should start, interacting with him. So we saw firsthand that, yeah, she had feelings for him. And, I didn't know it at the time, but if I had the knowledge that I have now back then, I would have told her, I was like, you have to move past this stuff because this is a sticking point. This is one of the reasons why you're here. You still have, and this is one of the classifications of spirits that I have, the hungry ghost. You're still having these hungry like cravings, these mental cravings for love, attachment, things like that. And when you die, you have to evolve past that. You're going to remain earthbound. And that's why she's still there. She is still wrestling with these emotions. And until she wrestles with these emotions and get past those surface level things, she cannot move on. And that's one of the things that I deal with as a ghost behaviorist when I'm interacting with these spirits. I'm like, okay, what are you dealing with? We need to get you past these issues. I hate when I watch these shows and they're like, go to the light, go to the light. Listen, you have no idea what you're talking about. These spirits, when they die, they see the light. They didn't go into the light. They know it's there. They know it exists. They're beyond that. So to say, go to the light, you ain't doing anybody favors, okay? So we have to figure out what is going on here because, here we are 20 years into the genre of paranormal TV and nothing is being solved. Nothing is getting better. The ghost, you talk to any ghost hunter, priest, whatever, they'll say that the paranormal thing, the paranormal landscape is just getting worse and worse and worse. There's more hauntings, more cases than ever before. So something has to give. There's something that is not being addressed or remedied. And as a ghost doctor, I figured it out. It's like we have to get to the root of the problem. One case in point, when I talk to Catholic priests, they will interact with the same demon over and over again. And I'm just like, well, yeah, because you push it out of one home, it's just going to go to another home. It's just like playing whack-a-mole. Until you really sock the damn thing on the head and figure out how to do that, we ain't solving anything. So it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So, yeah, that is what my work is all about. Brady, Velvet asks, do spirits eventually move on? There's a few at my grandparents' farm. Hi, Brady. I see you a lot in my comments. Nice to chat with you here. Yes, they do eventually move on. Some just want to hang around. It depends on their mindset. Some spirits, they want to hang around because I have a classification called the helper spirit. Sometimes they just want to stick around. They want to help out loved ones, watch over loved ones, and once they cross over, it's like, okay, well, my duty here is done, so they move on. Those are really cool. And I found, in all honesty, spirits, usually the time frame of them hanging around the earth plane is about 100, 200, 250 years. And then, most of them are like, I need to move on. And, this is just not for me, I guess. But that seems to be like the norm, 100 to 200 years. There are older ones, but the problem is, you can you can lose your mind at certain points. So you want to stay even keeled. This is why all the religious teachers in the past, like Buddha, Jesus, whatever, have talked about, meditation, learning things like letting go of ego, self-identity, because once you're in the afterlife, these things are only going to hold you back. It's not saying that be completely devoid and attached of any emotion. No, no, no. It's just, you need to know how to handle yourself on the other side if you find yourself in that type of situation. Poop balloon, what a name. Says the world needs more people like you. I totally agree. Or if not me, my philosophy. Because it's just people, when I go out and do these, I do, what are they called? Conventions, lectures at these conventions. I tell you what, these people, they don't see me coming. And when I start talking about this stuff and linking the afterlife together with different classifications and why they're earthbound and how to remedy situations, I literally see their jaws drop. They're just like, and it's just nonstop jaw drop moments. Like, what? Oh, huh. And then I'll have it every time. It never fails. I'll have one hand go up. I'll ask, and it's just like I'll for the question and answer period. I'll be like, does anybody have any questions? One or two hands go up. I answer a question, and then after that gets answered, like 50 hands go up. They're like, "Whoa, wait a minute! You just hit something like what? You just blew my mind." So, and and there too, like that type of forum, I can kind of no holds barred kind of type situation where when I'm online here, I have to hold back certain things that I have to talk about because there are certain things I want to talk about, but I can't. And the reason being that I have people, I don't know what the hell's going on, but I have people like household names in the paranormal industry like stealing my stuff, like cherry picking my stuff. And just recently, I saw somebody use parasitic ghosts, and I'm like, wait a minute, I coined that term a couple years ago. Like, what the hell? And it just drives me nuts because I don't get credit. They don't come to me and say, well, hey, what's this mean? How'd you come up with this? They just start cherry picking this stuff. And the beauty, though, is that what I do it can't be cherry picked because it's like a clock. It's just like there are so many moving parts to what I do. You could take like the faceplate, you could take the minute hand or whatever, and it'd be like, oh, look at this shiny toy. But unless you have the entire clock working in unison, because there's a lot of moving parts in what I do, and unless they're all working together in a synchronized fashion, you're not going to have the level of success that I'm able to get with the spirit world. And like I said, like I got a 90-minute interaction with a spirit. I've never, ever, ever, ever seen anybody, and that was done in 2012. I haven't seen anybody come close to that since. And that was 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And since then, I've learned so much, so much. I've got this device right now. I cannot wait to show the public because it's just going to blow your mind. It's going to be like, what the hell? Like, this thing is. I don't even want to allude to what it is because if somebody steals this idea, I'm going to be absolutely irate. So, yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's get to some more questions. We're at 25 minutes here. I haven't answered too many. Groose asks if somebody says they've spoken to God, how do you tell if they're crazy or legitimate? I just like to gauge the sincerity of them because there are a lot of levels to the spirit world. I think schizophrenics actually have a conduit into the spirit world, and they have no idea what's going on. The people around them have no idea what's going on. But I've interacted with a couple of these people, and you just have to ask the right questions because a lot of them they'll say, I'm hearing guttural things like that. And I'm like, oh, it's a mimic. It's a mimic demon thing. And once you figure out the matrix of what's going on, you can start helping these people. And one of the things I'll just hold that off for later. And so it's like, can you talk about the paraceleb that is stealing? I don't want to mention names. I don't want to mention names. There's a specific camp though that I've kind of found like it's just this little circle of friends. They always interact with each other and things I see online, and it's just this little circle. And it just drives me nuts because I keep seeing things like like even with the recent thing, I was like, well, who's this guy hanging out with? And I was sure enough, part of that circle. I'm like, son of a bitch. So it's part of my French. So yeah, it is just very frustrating, especially when you're trying to be a pioneer in this field, and the field has kind of like a boot on your head. It's like, no, we don't want you here. Because in 2016, I approached a lot of people with this new way of doing things, and they were just like, we don't want you anywhere near us. Or the field. Like, we have a good thing going on here. You're going to ruin a good thing. That's basically what I got from it. So, I'm going to tell you right now. Once this genie is out of the bottle, you think you saw the irate gamer hate club, ABGN hate club against me? Just wait until this genie's out of the bottle. You're going to see some serious shit hit the fan, because this thing impacts all established ghost hunters. It impacts the psychic field. It impacts mediums, everything, because what I do is more accurate than mediums, more accurate than psychics. So there's going to be a lot of shit thrown my way, and I've actually gotten confirmation from the spirit world, like, when this happens, because it's going to happen, watch your ass, because it's just going to be a shitstorm that comes upon you. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm just like, all right, let's go. So, all right, I want to address this. Marlon Vids, you said, I wish a spirit would love me. Um, First of all, I just want to say, learn to love yourself. That is the key. If there's one key to all this, it's love. And it's like, love yourself, love everything. Try to find a balance in life where you can love yourself, love life, because in the afterlife, if you die with a mindset that is full of hatred or regret or whatever, you're going to have a hard time climbing up out of that hole. And it's a lot easier to climb out of that hole while you're alive as opposed to if you're dead. So and that's a lot of the classifications that I have in the afterlife. They're just dealing with stuff. A lot of them are confused, and that's where we start getting residual hauntings and things like that, or things that are mislabeled as residual hauntings. If you guys have a burning question, there's a lot of questions here, and I apologize. I'm not going to be able to get to everything, but if you have a burning question, I'm just going to have to say it right now. You're going to have to do like one of those pay things, because it highlight when you pay for a question, it highlights it for me, and I could just go right to it and do that. Um, all right, I want to talk about this too. Suda Trop says, can D&D sessions summon otherworldly beings on accident? Um, I don't know if the game itself per se will conjure that. And look, I love games that are set up in D&D like fashion. Uh, it's just so cool to me. But words have power. If there's one thing I've learned in this, words have power. Even if you think you're doing the dumbest thing, I'll get this mantra. I'll be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever said. I'll start chanting the mantra, and things will have a profound effect on the spirit. And I'm like, I'm just chanting this thing. What? That's the biggest barrier I had to get past when I started this ghost doctor thing. Um, and once you start going down the rabbit hole, it's like, well, okay, well, if it's that easy to do like an incantation or a spell or whatever, it's like, okay, what is everybody else doing? What are they embedding in pop culture, in mainstream songs? There, and you start going down the rabbit hole, and you'll see that yes, they are embedding things into the songs that are getting on the top 10 lists, the videos that are hitting top, on YouTube, some of the influencers on YouTube. It's like you look in their eyes, and you're like, ooh, what's going on there? So are they doing incantations and things like that just by saying a sequential order of words? Absolutely, abso-freaking-lutely. And I've seen it with my own eyes with doing just the mantras that are full of light. I see the repercussions. So this, if it's going to work for light, it's going to work just as good for the dark. And we're at this tipping point now where a lot of people are seeing through the veil, and they're really. If you know where to look online, you can see a lot of like artists in with their concerts and things like that. They're absolutely doing incantations, just the way they move, the way the lights flicker and things like that. And I saw it firsthand too at E3. And I don't talk about this a lot, but there were some after parties there where it's like, what the hell did I just walk into? Um, so it's everywhere, man. And I'm telling you, I was approached by YouTube in 2012. They fucked my channel. Sorry to say it, to get vulgar, they fucked my channel. And it's because I did not want to sell out and become part of their whatever. And the top people on YouTube now, you better be careful what you're watching over there and what you're being spoon fed by the media and whatever, because they're all in bed together. I learned right away doing, and you could go back and look at my videos from back then when I was covering things like Microsoft and PlayStation and things like that. It was a pay or play. It's like you play by their rules or you're not getting an interview with these people. Microsoft, worst offenders. It's like, don't even think about approaching Microsoft if you ain't going to play ball. And I was ousted by them real quick. So, and boy, I could tell you stories. But you got to be careful. Got to absolutely be careful, because look at this. I mean, like I told you, man, this is the reason I was late today. Blue screen of death. I was using this computer yesterday to do a podcast, and it's dead. I don't know what happened to it. So yeah. Okay. Another good question. RKF, can ghosts travel freely? Yes, this is one of the coolest things. One of the first things I wanted to learn when I started down this journey. Can you go anywhere? Because if you watch these ghost hunting shows, there's kind of this misnomer that they're putting out there, like, oh, well, you died in this location, you're kind of confined to this location, right? No, we had that, we debunked that pretty damn quickly, because me and Alan and I, sorry, probably English. Alan and I were at the St. Augustine Lighthouse, and Alan asked, we were talking to the Spaniard, whatever, gosh, I can't think of the correct term, um, sailor or something like that. There, we got to the point where Alan was just like, "Hey, are you just a wandering spirit? You just wandered in here?" Because nothing made sense. It's like, well, you're not this ghost or that ghost or the other ghosts that are haunting this location. And he was basically like, "Yeah, I'm just wandering through." So I was like, "Aha." You could go anywhere you want. And I think later in the episode, I even asked a spirit. I was like, "So, are you able to leave the grounds? Are you able to go anywhere you want?" And they lit up the thing we had and said, "Yes, we can." So when I was a ghost tour guide at the Collingwood Art Center for 5 years, that was the thing. I asked the same questions over and over and over again. That was a question that I asked: "Can you go anywhere?" And every time they're like, "Yeah, we can go anywhere." And I also learned that they are omnipresent. They can actually be in two locations at once. They can pretty much go anywhere they want. And there's just, I'm sure there's, depending on their mindset, they are restricted by where they can go and um, some of the things that they could do in the afterlife. Okay. Okay, let me look here. Oh, my little girl's coming down. Hold on a second. Hey, you gotta go upstairs. I'm talking right now. What do you need? Oh, yeah, that's fine. Trials and tribulations of being a dad. Um, and that's another thing, I want to be able to protect my family. I want to know how to protect my family because when I know this stuff, things are coming at me. Sometimes they'll come at them, and it just pisses me off. I'm like, you low life, you're gonna come to my kids and wake them up in the middle of the night and terrify them in their dream state, like you mother. It just drives me nuts. And it just makes me so mad. So yeah. Okay, let's see. Man, there are just so many questions. I apologize. Um, I saw a question here that I wanted to get to. Uh, okay, so Poop Balloon asks, the classifications were a shock to the community. I bet. I don't know because they've kind of ignored me. It's I found out that once you break down the tiers of the ghost genre, I don't know, for lack of a better term, trying to break into the ghost uh circuit. I That's a better word, ghost circuit. If you're trying to break into the ghost circuit, there are three levels, and I pissed them all off. I pissed off the local. There's a local level where you have all local ghost hunters. Then you have the convention circuit, where you have all the people come to the circuit hub, and then you have the TV circuit with the top echelon, and you have to know how to play the game in each arena, because if you don't, you're going to piss people off, you're going to make them mad, and if you know more than the other person, there's going to be jealousy, there's going to be ego, and it's just like, look, I'm trying to help people, I'm trying to get my name out there, and actually, because I know what I'm talking about. You guys can go do your ghost hunt. That's fine. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to help people, and it drives me nuts because when I go, and this is true, a true story. Like every time I go to a location and they don't really know that much about me, and I do a lecture, when I come off the stage, my booth is swarmed with people, like more than the people they've paid to be there. They are swarming they're like, where did this guy come from? They don't see me coming. They're like, this guy has answers. Like when I mentioned earlier, just this constant jaw dropping moment. Like, what? They surround my booth and they're just like, I want your book. I want your DVD. I want to know. I have some questions I want answered. The first time it just caught me off guard. I was like, what? And I got off stage and I was walking back to my booth with my wife. I was very casually walking back really slow. And I was like, oh, do you think that went well? Yeah, I think that went well. I get back to my booth. I'm just like, what the hell? There's like 100 people surrounding my booth that waiting for me to come back. And I was just like, it caught me off guard because they had all the main people there. Grant Wilson, the haunted collector guy, what's his name? Zaffis, a lot of the Ghost Hunter International, like all these people, and my booth was just like, "Vonk," pissed a lot of people off. Let me tell you, and I was not invited back even after I said, "Look, I'll buy a booth. I just want another lecture time." No, we're good. We're good. And so it's like everybody on that, they're like, "We're good. We don't need you," which ticks me off because here we go, ego again. And it's like, okay, well, you're shooting yourself in the foot because if you have that mentality in the afterlife, it's going to count against you. So, I mean, it's best to get past that now. So, okay, RKF says if cleansing happens remotely, would a recording work too? Absolutely. So at the beginning of this recording, I talked about I put together a website to help people that are suffering from spirits in their house and they don't know how to protect themselves, cleanse themselves from it, whatever. Um, so I put together this website, ghostdrchris.com. I have different packages up there, and it's a remote viewing, and the remote does just as good as me being there. And because I wanted to, and look, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, tailoring the the videos and the procedure that you have to go through to make this effective. And once, and I'm putting the power in your hands too. So once you get a grasp on this, it's like, okay, I can protect myself. And all you have to do is purchase this once. You're protected forever. You can do this at your leisure whenever you want, how often as you want, and you could become your own master. It's like a master class for people that um for people that need help in this arena. Uh UFO Dave. Okay, I'm putting this on here just to, I guess, feed my own ego. I guess the Ghost Doctor is the bee's knees. I guess that stands for these hacks can't touch the king. All right. Well, I don't consider myself the end all be all, but thank you. I appreciate that. Um, oh my God, there's so many questions. Thank you guys. There's not a lot of people in the chat, but thank you for all the questions that are coming. So, oh man, some of those questions I don't want to touch because you guys are getting very, very specific with people that I'm kind of referring to, and I don't want to mention any names. Um, I'm sorry, I'm doing this on my phone. If I was on my computer, this would be a lot easier. All right, I'll address this here. It says, if I'm killed by a ghost, what happens to me? I'm also turned into a spirit. Um, that does not. Well, let me explain a little bit about this. Uh, so there are. If you watch my, and I'll probably have to end this soon. It's almost 7 o'clock. Um, if you watch my Ghost Doctor series, in my first episode, I ended up interacting with Eliza, and I pulled information about the afterlife that was just mind blowing. One of those things is that there are rules to the afterlife that spirits have to follow. Now, think about that for a minute. Rules to the afterlife. What does that mean? So, if we break this down, it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. If there are rules, then there's somebody governing the afterlife. There are punishments, and there's certain things they have to follow. So, there's kind of like a 10 Commandments that the afterlife has to follow. So spirits are bound by a certain set of rules or principles, or laws governing the afterlife, or the universe, or whatever, to maintain. And it all, when you get down to it, it's all to maintain balance. Okay, And so if you're asking me if a ghost can kill somebody, uh, not not directly. There's within the demonic world, there is this thing that happens where the demon, like their ultimate goal is to try to wear somebody down to the point of wanting to commit suicide, or wanting to take their own life. That is a badge of honor to a demon. If they could do that, oh, that's it's just like a badge of honor. It goes on their coat, their belt, or whatever. It's like, hey, look what I did. And it happens, and it's sad because a lot of these cases involving suicide, things like that, these people are, whether they know it or not, they can have dark influences, external, internal, whatever. And it's a gradual thing. It's just not something that happens overnight. It's just like when I was talking about the house, where the spirit is trying to match his uh, energy level to the house level. Uh, the same thing happens with a human. Okay, he's trying to match his energy level with the human, because once they get in sync, then they're much more influenceable, so to speak. This just goes down a whole series of discussions. But I've had family members commit suicide. It's tragic. You have to pray for them. You have to pray for them. I cannot stress this enough. You have to pray for them, because once they cross over, first of all, their mind state is shredded. Okay, and prayer helps them move on to the next stage of the process of where they have to go. And there's things like life review. They have to figure, okay, well, what's the problem? Like I did a video on Groundhog's Day, and I talked about this a little bit. Like, you're going to have to do things over and over and over again until you get it right. So the person that commits suicide, they're going to be in this endless cycle of trying to get things right, whether it's in the afterlife, whether it's through reincarnation. It's not up to me. I don't know how. Depending where they're at, that's up to them and their guides and God, whatever. But pray for these people. I cannot stress them enough. Even if you don't agree with what they say, they think, you do, just pray for the people. And because that's another thing that I've been doing, is I've been praying for the spirits, in the purgatory realms. And I no lie, they keep waking me up in the middle of the night. I feel the bed shake. I'm like, oh, here we go again. So they're visiting me. So I've been telling them, like, look, I'm doing a prayer session for you every Sunday and Wednesday. Uh, I will help you. So come back then. I'll help you. And ever since I've been doing that, it's been a lot more peaceful at night. So, like what basically, to answer that question, they can't kill you directly, but they will try to influence that outcome as much as it can. All right, I'll try to take like one or two more here. God, I love taking these questions because there's just so much to talk about, and everything I've said, I haven't heard anybody talk about this stuff. And I encourage you to try to find anyone else talking about this stuff. I hate to keep harping on this, but nobody talks about this stuff, and people want these answers. And God dang it, I am passionate about this stuff. And I don't care if you guys ridicule me or whatnot. I got haters. I've always had haters. I don't care. You want to make fun of me, fine. But when it's your turn to meet the maker and you need help and you're coming to me for prayers, I'm not going to turn you away. So you're just going to seek me out for help, because I'm going to be here for you. That's just how it goes. Okay. Oh, here's a good question. Why is it that people always approach ghost hunting from a Christian perspective and not that of a different religion? Thank you. I've been saying that. I've been harping that with network executives for years, because it's always the Western tradition, the Catholic tradition. Not that it's bad. I love it. I implement it into my procedures. But the thing is, there's a lot of gaps and like knowledge gaps and holes in their way of doing things. And because it's like, well, what's a residual haunting? How do we cure residual haunting? It's like, I don't know. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you don't know because you're not researching other religions. When you start researching things like the Eastern tradition, Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, start putting those together, they're very they're one of the reasons is the other cultures are very, very heady, where the Bible, things like that, I hate to say it, it's been kind of dumbed down for the masses. So it could be, it could just be picked up and you can take from it, which is not a bad thing. Okay. There's a lot of good stuff in the Bible. I don't want to poo poo it. But if you want to get that inner knowledge, the deeper knowledge, things like that, you have to go to the stuff that has been shrouded and hidden away through time, like the Gnostic scriptures. When I first started reading the Gnostic scriptures in college, I was blown away. I was like, "What in the absolute hell am I reading?" It's just like, huh? I've never met another ghost hunter that even knows about the Gnostic scriptures, let alone can quote them. Split a piece of wood and I am there, says Jesus. Uh, there's so many implications to that. And you start reading the stuff in the Bible where it's like, even the rocks. There's a passage in there that talks about the rocks breathing and the rocks having life, and it's like, well, yeah. Well, okay. What does that mean? Once you start getting into it, it's like, okay. There are hell realms in which things are cast into rocks and things like that. So they're serving out these long sentences to burn off their karma. And I know I'm probably sounding like a quack, but listen, when you start getting into the stuff like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, and start figuring out, okay, this is the matrix of how the afterlife works. It's like, aha. And when you come at the spirit world and say, look, I know you're going through XYZ, I can figure this out and be like, okay, I'm going to solve your problems. They're like, oh my God, this guy gets me, and it's like, okay, all these people think I'm a quack, but listen, when it comes down to it, who's getting 90-minute interactions with spirits? Somebody that actually knows what they're talking about and can talk to the spirit world like they know what's going on, because I do know what's going on. Okay, I will take one more question. Oh my God. A ghost lives in a floppy disk at my home. Okay, I don't know if that's true or not, but I would bless that sucker. Uh, but oh my God, look at all these. I'm sorry. Let's see, we got a paid question here. Can we have the Wolverine review back? All right, buddy, you got me. I want to do that one eventually, but this is Ghost Doctor, so no questions about Irate Gamer stuff here. I already did that yesterday. You guys keep asking about astral spiders. This is one of the things that I don't want to talk about just yet, because like I said, people are um taking my knowledge. Like, a couple of things that I won't talk about are astral spiders, and I really want to talk about them. I do, because they come hand in hand with the demonic and things like that. But once I start talking about it, I know somebody's going to pick up on this and be like, "Oh, this is something we came up with." It just drives me nuts, because I'm like, okay, well, if they're stealing this stuff from me, what else have they been stealing? Like, do they have anything original that they've been putting out there for the last couple of years? And then it's like you start researching these people, and it's like, oh, maybe not. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, the astral spider, I will talk about them one day. Let things happen first, and then I will definitely talk about the spider stuff, because I know I've been kind of hinting around that for a while. Um, the Horror King says, "Hope your laptop works again." I don't know. I've had the weirdest damn things happen. Uh, All right, I'm trying to find one last good question. I apologize for for doing this. Okay, Brady. Uh, I'll take your question last here. You asked, are dark forces gaining strength from the chaos in our society? Absolutely. I believe a lot of what's going on, they're driving it. And it says, in the last days, God is going to release the devil for an hour, I think it is. And I think we're seeing that now. And this is all by design. We're at the end of the age. If you study astrology, we are at the end of the Piscean age. We're entering into the Aquarian age. The song "Age of Aquarius." And the same thing happened in Jesus' time. They oh gosh, what age was that? It was like the Capricorn age going into the Piscean age, or I think that's what it was. And I'll tell you, the same exact thing was happening back then. If you read the writings from rabbis back in Jesus' time, they were talking about the demonic forces ramping up. All these rabbis are going out and casting out spirits, and every time they would cast out a spirit, two more would take its place. And this is in a lot of writings back then. So when Jesus came along, not only was he, the Son of Man or whatever, but he was also like one of the first really good exorcists of his day. Because if you look through the New Testament, you know, like two-thirds, sorry, two-thirds of the New Testament is Jesus casting out demons and things like that. He knew what he was doing, and he was very successful at it. And he knew how to get demons out and not have them keep coming back like they are now. And I want to link this to Stranger Things. This is a great analogy where you see those big old spider crawly things in the background, coming over the city. I'm pretty sure that was, they've got some divine influence um, for putting that into their work, because I think that's what's going on now. Because getting into the whole astral spiders thing, how big can they get? That big. And once they get that big, they could start doing mass influence of people. And yeah, they can start taking over. Oh man, this just goes down so many rabbit holes. And I know you guys are probably like, what? But you start researching certain texts. And God, I wish I had Alan on here. I'm going to try to bring Alan on next week because maybe we can get into this. There are certain tells, and he can describe it better than I can. But there are some things that I found out about the afterlife or the demonic world is that the different sects. Okay, boy, this is going on forever. I did not realize that we were going to go on for an hour, but there are different demonic sects in the afterlife. SECTS. Hope I'm saying that correctly. Different genuses like if you study like butterflies and I'm trying to think of the word ectomology. I can't remember. I can't pronounce that correctly. But they have different genuses in the demonic realm. That you have your greys, you have your reptiles, you have your bugs, your things like that. There are different types. Okay, and spiders is just one of those. And well, I'm really. I hope nothing bad happens to me tonight. I'm really uncovering a lot of the stuff that they do not want out there. Um, but one of the things that is a tell, especially among like the bug type of demonic things, is that, and Alan explained this to me, where the people that are influenced, they'll start circling in I can't remember if it's clockwise or counterclockwise fashion. And when you start watching these videos and studying the patterns of how they move, um, you can see they're moving in this pattern that these things lay out. And it's like, that is interesting. That is very interesting. So you have to be like, I'm telling you, as a ghost doctor, there are many things that I have to take into consideration. My, it's just not knowing a little bit about the afterlife, watching all the ghost hunting shows. You really have to go under the surface, do your homework, and know exactly what you are talking about. And this is one of the problems that we have in the field today. No, we ever since like 2012, 2010, 2012, everybody's hit a wall. Like, where do we go now? And they just don't know. The only one that I really like is Zach. I love watching Zach, but even him, because I know he's trying to find that next step. He's trying to connect the dots, but he doesn't know where to go next with this field. And I feel that he's genuine, but he just doesn't know where to go. And the problem is he keeps going darker, darker, darker. And I think that's going to bite him in the butt here soon, because you can only go so far until something happens. And I pray for him, but I think he's going to hit this impasse. I think something bad's going to happen with his team. I just feel it. I feel it in my gut, because they're doing some bad stuff with what do you call them? The singing bowls. And I tell you, I haven't seen anybody using singing bowls before I was doing it. So I don't know if they were like, oh, that could be a cool idea, but they're not using light behind what they're doing. And it's like, you got to be careful, because some of the stuff that I've seen, like some of their investigations that happened after that investigation, I'm like, whoa, this stuff is starting to follow you. And I see the telltale signs, like they better be careful. And I see a lot of that in the ghost community. There's a guy that I talked to a couple weeks ago, and I felt bad, but he was just telling me of he's like, oh yeah, and all this cool stuff and all this demonic stuff in my house. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, they showed me this video of something that happened in the basement. And I'm like, look, I got to give you some tough love here. You have a family, like you're playing around with stuff that you shouldn't be playing around with, because you don't know the correct protective layers to put around yourself, around your house, around your family. This is going to lead to bad stuff. And he hasn't talked to me since. So, I try to help out when I can. But you can only do so much. The person that you're talking to is gotta also want the same thing that you're preaching for. So, all right, my time is spent. My voice is gone. My water is almost gone. I thank you for watching my stuff, being there, asking questions. I'm going to try to do this a weekly thing. I want to build up the fan base for this, for the Ghost Doctor thing, and I feel like this is the only way to really do that. And we've got a lot of crazy stuff that's going to happen. The spirit world has kind of clued me in on, look, some crazy shit's about to go down. And I just, like, when this stuff starts happening, I want to be able to be there and be like, okay, it's not the end of the world. Like, look, we're in this together. We're going to get through this, because at the end, you know, we're we're just, everything's going to be a lot better, and we just got to get through the darkness first. So, thank you for watching. Unless my phone like just totally dies on me like my laptop did, I will be back next week. I will try to get Alan, because I love his input. Man, if there's one guy that knows, is my equal in this stuff, it is absolutely Alan. So he's my buddy. I love him. He's like my brother. So yeah, I hope to get more of these videos out, and thank you for watching. Yeah, like Poopaloo said, Poopaloo. I will pray for your family. Yes, send prayers. I can use them. Uh, absolutely, and I could just divert them where they need to go. So thank you, and be safe out there.